You watched part 1. Some of you fixed your mistakes. Most of you did not. I can tell because the crash reports keep stacking up. Same patterns, same excuses, same preventable deaths. Here is the thing about pros. We do not just ride better. We watch. We see exactly who is going to make it and who is riding borrowed time. And right now, many of you are on that second list. This is part 2. 23 more fatal mistakes that separate survivors from statistics in 2026. These are not the obvious newbie errors anymore. These are the ones that kill riders with experience. The ones that make veterans shake their heads at intersections. The ones you are probably doing right now. Some of these will piss you off. Good. Maybe anger will save your life where common sense failed. Let's start with the ones that make pros shake their heads. Mistake number 1. Overdriving blind corners. A massive share of single-vehicle motorcycle deaths happen in curves, and every crash investigator knows why. Amateurs enter blind corners at speed, while experienced riders slow down and scan. You see a curve and you think about how cool you'll look leaning through it. Pros. See a curve and think about the gravel patch they can't see yet, the deer, the oil spill, the stopped car around the apex. The math is simple. If you can't see your exit, you're gambling. Pros don't gamble. You do. That's why they're still riding, and you're going to be a statistic. Here's what happens. You enter hot. Mid-corner, you see the problem. Now you've got 3 bad options. Brake and stand the bike up into the oncoming lane. Try to lean harder and lose traction. Or target fixate and ride straight off into whatever's there. Riders who've survived long enough already slowed before the turn. They've got options. You've got physics working against you and a split second to pick how you want to crash. Mistake 2. Fixating on mirrors instead of scanning ahead. You're obsessed with what's behind you, checking mirrors every 3 seconds, as if someone's chasing you. Meanwhile, the car making a left turn in front of you. You never saw it coming. Left turners are the #1 multi-vehicle killer of motorcyclists. They are not sneaking up from behind. They are right there in front of you, waiting to cross your path. But you are too busy watching your 6 to see the threat at 12 o'clock. Experienced instructors glance at mirrors quickly, 1 second maximum, then eyes forward, where the actual danger lives. You stare at mirrors like they are going to save you. They will not. The car you did not see will. Mistake 3. Not covering brakes at intersections. Every intersection is a potential ambush. Left turners, red light runners, distracted drivers. Track day riders know this. That is why their fingers are covering the brake lever before they even enter the intersection. You cruise through like you own the road, throttle steady, hands relaxed. Then the car turns left across your lane, and you have to move your hand, find the lever, and squeeze. That is 0.7 seconds you just wasted. Riders who have been around long enough are already squeezing by the time you are reaching. That 0.7 seconds is the difference between stopping in time and T-bone a Camry at 40. The reaction time math does not lie. You see a threat. Your brain processes it. The signal goes to your hand. Your hand moves to the lever. The lever engages the brake. That whole chain takes 2 full seconds for most riders in a panic. Pros cut that in half by covering the brake. You do not. That is why they walk away, and you get loaded into an ambulance. Mistake 4. Ignoring wildlife and animal hazards. A deer jumps out. You panic and swerve. The motorcycle goes down, or you hit a tree. Either way, you are done. Crash investigators see this pattern constantly. Experienced rural riders do 3 things you do not. They slow down at dawn and dusk when animals move. They cover their brakes in wooded areas, and when an animal appears, they brake hard and straight instead of swerving wildly. You see a deer, your instinct screams avoid it, and you yank the bars. That is how you end up in the ditch or wrapped around a tree. The deer walks away. You do not. Here is why vision errors compound into fatal crashes. Bad vision means late recognition. Late recognition means bad positioning. Bad positioning means no escape route. No escape route means you are choosing between bad options at speed. Emergency medical technicians know exactly how this ends just by watching head movement. If your head is locked forward, you are staring. You are target fixating. You are not processing the full picture. They watch you blow past intersections without a head check. They see you enter curves without looking through the turn. They know exactly how your crash is going to happen before it does. But even perfect vision will not save you if your bike control is trash. Mistake 5. Relying on the anti-lock braking system like it's magic. You bought a bike with the anti-lock braking system and now you think you're invincible. You grab the brakes however you want because the computer will save you. That's not how this works. The anti-lock braking system prevents wheel lockup. It does not fix target fixation. It does not compensate for grabbing instead of squeezing. It does not override physics when you are leaned over in a turn. Pros trail brake properly. They understand brake modulation. They know exactly how much lever pressure they can apply at any lean angle. You just grab and hope the electronics sort it out. Here's what happens when you rely on the anti-lock braking system. You get lazy. You stop learning proper braking technique. Then one day, you are in a situation where the anti-lock braking system cannot help. A mid-corner emergency, a loose surface, or weight transfer gone wrong, and you have no skills to fall back on. The bike has more capability than you do. That's the problem. You are trusting technology to make up for incompetence instead of developing actual skill. Mistake 6. Riding with zero counter-steering awareness. Most amateur riders fight their own motorcycle. They try to steer it like a car. They lean their body, and they turn the bars in the direction they want to go. The bike resists, and they muscle through it. Pros push the bar to turn, push the left bar forward to go left, push the right bar forward to go right. The bike responds instantly and smoothly. It is not magic, it is physics. But you never learned it. You know that feeling when the bike does not want to turn? When you are leaned over but need more lean and it feels like the bike is fighting you? That is because you are doing it wrong. Push the inside bar. The bike will drop into the turn like it is on rails. But you do not know that, so you wrestle with 600 pounds of machine in every corner, while pros make it dance. Mistake 7. Ignoring engine braking in downshifts. You downshift without rev matching. The bike lurches. The rear wheel chatters. Sometimes it even skips. You think that is normal. It is not. That is you shocking the drivetrain and upsetting the chassis. In the wrong situation, such as a mid-corner, a wet road, or a decreasing radius turn, that lurch can break traction and put you on the ground. Pros blip the throttle on downshifts. Engine speed matches wheel speed. The shift is smooth. The bike stays settled. No drama, no rear wheel hop, no unexpected weight transfer. You cannot be bothered to learn it. Too complicated, too much to think about. So you keep jerking the bike around with every downshift and wondering why you feel unstable. Mistake 8. Not practicing emergency swerves. An obstacle appears in your lane. A car pulls out. Debris in your path. You have 1 second to react. Pros have drilled emergency swerves monthly for years. Their body knows exactly what to do. Push the bar hard, weight shift, counter steer back. They thread the needle without thinking. You freeze, or you grab the brakes and hope, or you try to swerve, but you are so unpracticed that you overshoot and lose control on the other side. Emergency maneuvers take 0.5 seconds for pros, 2+ seconds for you. That is the difference between missing the car and hitting it, between staying upright and going down. When was the last time you practiced a swerve in a parking lot with cones? Never. That is what I thought. Mistake 9. Over-braking in panic on wet roads. Rain hits. Road gets slick. You panic at something and grab a handful of the front brake. The front wheel loses traction. The bike slides out from under you. You low side into traffic or into the curb, all because you grabbed instead of squeezed. Pros ease into brakes on wet roads. They know traction is reduced. They apply pressure gradually. They feel for the limit instead of blasting past it. You treat wet roads like dry roads. Same brake pressure, same aggression, same confidence. Then, physics reminds you that grip does not care about your confidence. The skill gap in emergency situations is massive. Your bike can stop. Your bike can swerve. Your bike can handle rain. You cannot. That's the technical incompetence that separates survivors from statistics. Pause. I used to rely on ABS too. I used to think electronics would save me. That mindset almost put me down hard in the rain, and that is when I realized skill gaps do not announce themselves. They just collect. Then there are the group ride disasters that make us all look bad. Mistake 10. Convoying with reckless idiots. Group rides turn into peer pressure death traps. One squid decides he is going to do 90 in a 55 zone. Now everyone else feels slow, so they speed up to keep pace. Then someone tries to show off, and the whole pack escalates. Pros ride their own pace. They do not care if the group leaves them behind. They will catch up at the next stop. They are not racing, they are riding home alive. You cannot handle that. You see the pack pulling away and your ego screams. You push beyond your skill level, beyond safe speeds, beyond what the road conditions allow, all because you cannot stand being the slow guy. Here is what happens in group crashes. One rider grabs too much front brake and goes down. The rider behind him has half a second to react. He cannot. He hits the first bike. The third rider swerves and loses control. The fourth rider panic brakes and has a low side crash. 5 bikes down because one person made one mistake. We have all seen the videos. The domino effect is real. It starts because nobody in that group had the spine to ride their own ride. Mistake 11. Riding with passengers too soon. You've been riding 6 months. You think you're ready for a passenger. You are not. A pillion shifts weight. They can lean wrong or move at the wrong time. Suddenly, your bike handles completely differently. The steering feels heavy. The braking becomes unpredictable. Acceleration can make the front wheel light. Pros wait years before they take passengers. They master solo riding first. They understand weight distribution. They know how to communicate with a pillion. They have practiced in empty parking lots. You just throw someone on the back and hope for the best. Then you wobble through the first turn because the weight shift caught you off guard. Or you brake too hard and your passenger slams into you. Or you accelerate and they lean back and pull you with them. 2-up crashes are ugly. Now you are not just risking yourself, you are risking someone who trusted you. Someone who thought you knew what you were doing. Mistake 12. Riding angry or consumed by road rage. A cager cuts you off. You are furious, so you chase them down. You rev your engine. You get in their face. You escalate the situation. Pros let it go every time. They know anger makes you stupid. It makes you take risks, and it makes you focus on revenge instead of survival. You cannot let it go. Your ego is bruised, so you chase. You weave through traffic. You run red lights to catch up. While you are fixated on that car, you miss the real threat. The pothole, the merging truck, the red light you just ran. Road rage kills motorcyclists, not because the cager did something worse, but because you do. You turn a close call into a fatal crash because you could not swallow your pride. Mistake 13. Using phone mounts like it is safe. You have your phone mounted on your bars. GPS running. Notifications pinging. You glance down every 30 seconds to check the route. Each glance is 2 seconds. In those 2 seconds, at 40 miles per hour, you travel 117 feet blind. That is more than enough distance to miss the car turning left, the pedestrian stepping out, the brake lights ahead. Pros memorize routes or pull over to check. Their eyes stay on the road. Your eyes are on a screen. That is why distracted riding crashes triple in urban areas. The data is clear. Even 2-second glances triple your crash risk. You keep doing it because the GPS is convenient, because you might miss a turn, because stopping to check feels like wasting time. You know what really wastes time? Physical therapy after you T-bone someone at an intersection you did not see coming. Most of you skip the basics that cost nothing. If you are still watching, you are already ahead of most riders. Now we are getting into the mistakes that cost nothing to fix, and yet they kill people anyway. Mistake 14. Wearing sneakers or street shoes. You roll up in tennis shoes, maybe high tops if you are feeling fancy. You think ankle coverage counts as protection. It does not. In a slide, those shoes disintegrate in seconds. The fabric burns through, the rubber melts. Then it is your skin on asphalt at 40 miles per hour. Road rash down to the bone. Professional riders wear proper motorcycle boots every single ride. Reinforced ankles, abrasion-resistant materials, shin protection. They cost $200. Skin grafts can cost $50,000. Do the math. But you cannot be bothered because boots are hot in summer, because they are not as comfortable, because you are only going a few miles. That few miles is where most crashes happen, close to home, at low speed, the ones you think are safe. Your ankles do not care about your excuses, neither does the asphalt. Mistake 15. Skipping pre-ride tire pressure checks. When was the last time you checked your tire pressure? Last week? Last month? You cannot remember. Underinflated tires cause sudden failures. They overheat, they flex too much, and they lose grip unpredictably. Then they can blow out mid-corner, and you are down before you even know what happened. Pros check every single ride. It takes 30 seconds. Use a tire gauge and do a visual inspection for cracks or embedded objects. Done. You skip it because you checked last month and they were fine, because you are in a hurry, because you assume everything is okay until it is catastrophically not okay. One missed tire check can end your riding career in one corner. But you keep rolling the dice because checking feels like paranoia. It is not paranoia. It is the difference between making it home and becoming another sudden tire failure statistic. Mistake 16. Buying a full-face helmet but skipping the rest of the gear. You've got a nice full-face helmet. Probably spent $300 on it. Good. Your head is protected. Now explain the jeans and hoodie. Explain the regular gloves. Explain why you protected your brain but left every other part of you exposed. You're not all the gear all the time. You're half-assing it. And when you slide, that denim lasts about 6 feet before it shreds. That hoodie is gone instantly. Your skin is what's grinding on the pavement now. Pros gear up completely or they do not ride. Jacket, pants, gloves, boots, every time. Because they understand that crashes do not just hit your head, they hit everything. You think you look cool in your street clothes, you think full gear is overkill for a quick ride, you think you'll be careful. Careful does not matter when someone else hits you. When oil appears mid-corner, when that tire you did not check decides to blow. You are not a rider in street clothes, you are a skin donor in denial. Mistake 17. No night riding preparation, no lights, no reflectives. You ride at night in dark gear with no reflective strips and no auxiliary lights. Just you and your headlight blending into the darkness. Dark roads make you invisible. Other drivers do not always see motorcycles in daylight. At night you are a ghost until you are under their bumper. Pros gear up bright. They wear reflective vests, use auxiliary lights, and mount helmet lights. They make themselves impossible to miss. You make yourself easy to hit. Visibility is not about looking cool. It is about being seen before someone merges into your lane, before someone turns left across your path, before someone changes lanes without looking. You blend in and get merged into. They get seen and avoided. That is the difference. Mistake 18. Riding unlicensed or with an expired endorsement. 35% of fatal motorcycle crashes involve unlicensed riders in recent data. You know why? Because unlicensed means untrained. Untrained means you never learned emergency skills in the first place. Pros stay legal with a current endorsement, proper training, and insurance. They took the Motorcycle Safety Foundation course. They practiced in controlled environments. They learned counter-steering and emergency braking before they hit public roads. You skipped all that. You bought a bike. You watched some YouTube videos. You started riding. Now you are out there with zero formal training, wondering why everything feels so hard. The licensing problem is real. Riding without proper training means when that emergency happens, and it will, you have no foundation to draw from, just panic and bad instincts. And then there are the modifications that make pros laugh out loud. Mistake 19. Modding without understanding what you are actually doing. You slap on a cheap exhaust because you want attention. Loud pipes save lives, right? Wrong. Loud pipes reduce back pressure and mess with your fuel mapping in ways you cannot predict. That exhaust was engineered to work with specific back pressure curves. You just deleted half of that. Now your bike runs lean in certain RPM ranges. Throttle response gets weird. Power delivery becomes unpredictable. Mid-corner roll-on? Good luck. Pros mod smart. They tune after exhaust changes. They understand how intake and exhaust work together. They test before they trust. You bolt on parts and hope. Then you wonder why your bike feels different. Why it hesitates. Why it surges. You blame the bike. The bike is fine. You broke it. Cheap mods kill because they change things you do not understand. Back pressure affects fuel mapping. Fuel mapping affects throttle response. Throttle response affects your ability to control the bike in critical moments. But you wanted it loud. So now it is loud and unpredictable. Congratulations. Mistake 20. Pushing tires to their limit for cool photos. You're leaning max for Instagram. Knee down, elbow scraping, getting that perfect angle for the likes. Meanwhile, you have no idea what your actual grip limit is. Pros know the edge. They found it on track days, in controlled environments, with runoff and full safety gear. They know exactly how far they can push before traction breaks. You're leaning for likes while pros are leaning for survival. There is a difference, a massive one. Here's what happens. You're maxed out for the photo. Then mid-corner the road surface changes. A slight temperature drop. A patch of sand. Oil residue. Your tire was already at the limit. Now it is past it. You are sliding before you realize what happened. The Instagram effect is real. You're performing for an audience instead of riding within your abilities. That performance pressure makes you push beyond what is safe, beyond what is smart, beyond what you can actually handle. Mistake 21. Riding fatigued after long days, 8 hours in the saddle. You're exhausted, eyes heavy, reaction time is shot, but you want to push for one more hour to make it home. Tired eyes mean delayed reactions. Long days in the saddle slash your reaction time, so tactics that saved you earlier in the day simply don't work anymore. That's the difference between avoiding a collision and causing one. Pros pull over and rest. They grab a hotel. They take a nap in a rest area. They know that pushing through exhaustion is how experienced riders die on simple roads. You push through. Because stopping feels like quitting, because you're almost home, because you've done it before and been fine. You've been lucky before. Luck runs out, usually when you're too tired to react to it running out. Mistake 22. Complacency on familiar roads. Same route every day, same commute, same curves. You know every inch of this road. So you stop paying attention. You're on autopilot. Brain checked out, just going through the motions. Then something changes. Construction, new gravel. A car stopped where cars never stop. You don't see it until too late because you weren't really looking. You were assuming. Assumptions kill. Most crashes happen within 5 miles of home. You know why? Because that's where you're most comfortable, most complacent, most likely to zone out and miss the one thing that's different today. Pros stay sharp even on known roads. They scan like it's their first time. They expect the unexpected. They ride every mile like it matters. You coast on muscle memory from 2,000 identical rides until ride 2001 kills you. But the final mistake? It's the one that kills experienced riders more than any other. Mistake 23. Thinking experience alone makes you safe. You've been riding 10 years, 15 years, maybe 20. You've got thousands of miles under your belt. You think that makes you immune. It doesn't. It makes you complacent. And complacency kills veterans harder than it kills newbies. Here's the veteran death pattern. Crash data and instructor reports show the same pattern over and over. Experienced riders who stop training get caught out faster than newer riders who stay sharp. You know why? Because the 3-year rider is still scared, still learning, still practicing, still humble. You stopped being scared 5 years ago, stopped taking courses 8 years ago, stopped practicing emergency maneuvers the day you passed your test. Now you're coasting on muscle memory and overconfidence. The training gap is massive. Pros take motorcycle safety foundation refreshers, track days, advanced courses, every single year. They drill emergency braking, Practice swerves. Push their limits in controlled environments so they know exactly where those limits are. You coast on skills from 2015. You haven't practiced a swerve in 5 years, but you ride 10,000 miles annually. When do you think that bill comes due? Real accident data shows experienced riders overestimate their abilities in corners. They underestimate stopping distances. They think their reflexes are still sharp. They're not. Reaction time degrades. Muscle memory fades. Skills atrophy without practice. But you don't practice because you think you don't need to. You've got experience. You've seen it all. You haven't seen it all. You've seen what you've survived so far. That's different. The stuff that kills you? You haven't seen that yet. By definition, here's why ego is fatal. You think you've mastered this, so you stop learning, stop training, stop questioning your own abilities. Then the emergency happens, the one you haven't drilled in years, the one your body used to know but forgot. Your brain sends the signal. Your body hesitates. That hesitation is the gap between what you think you can do and what you can actually do right now. That gap gets you killed. The complacency math is brutal. You haven't practiced emergency skills in years, but you ride constantly. Every mile without practice is another mile where your skills degrade while your confidence stays high. That's the fatal combination. Low skill, high confidence. Physics doesn't care about your resume. This is mistake 23 because it's the mistake that makes all the other 22 possible. You stop learning, you start dying. You stop training, you start gambling. You stop being humble, you start being a statistic waiting to happen. Pros know they're never done learning, never fully trained, never completely safe. Humility keeps them sharp, keeps them practicing, keeps them alive. Your ego tells you you're past all that, you're experienced now. You don't need courses or practice or advice from anyone. That ego is writing checks your degraded skills can't cash. And when the bill comes due, it comes due fast and permanent. So which of these 23 are you guilty of? Pros aren't mocking you for fun. They're marking who survives and who becomes a statistic. They can tell just by watching you ride which mistakes you're making. They know how your crash is going to happen before it does. Here's how you don't become the next report. This week, do 3 things. 1. Practice 5 emergency swerves in an empty lot. 2. Check tire pressure before your next ride. Every tire, every time. 3. Cover your brakes at every intersection for the next 7 days. If you can't commit to that, don't pretend you're serious about staying alive. Comment below which mistake hit hardest. Be honest. We can tell when you're lying. Subscribe for part 3. Like if you're finally waking up. Share to save a friend from the organ donor list. Experience without humility is just time served. The road doesn't care how long you've been riding, only how sharp you are today.